your money when the market is down. Sounds incredible, right? Sounds super? Super Roths are the way of the future, specifically your future. To see if you qualify for a Super Roth, go online to thesuperroth.com.
We supply the words. You paint the picture. KCAA.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. Listen to Whatever Works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
I'm Solomon Crink.
There we go.
We had that pause going here. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. Super excited to be here on the show. You know, Solomon has been here a few times. He's been on the air. He's been, just watching sometimes.
Yeah.
So we don't even say he's our guest today. He's just one of us.
Yeah.
Also, we got
One
Joe in the
of
production
us.
room. Round of applause for Joe being here without a doubt.
Yeah.
You can't call no sick days because no one else works here. No, I'm just kidding. But super excited to be here today, guys. We're going to be talking about a few things, some things that are progressing in our lives and just what's been going on. But before we get into that, Kyle, you know what time it is.
Sponsored time. SNJRadio.com. No negative news, no politics, just feel good music.
Yep.
Class C entertainment.
Yes, and then we're also going to do another sponsor next week once we actually get it all together. But it's going to be for the Native Sons.
Yes.
100% the Native Sons of the Golden West. We're going to represent all of them, but specifically our parlor. Our parlor is 110 Arrowhead Parlor.
Arrowhead Parlor 110. We're all members here.
Yeah, actually, we all are.
Yeah, we're all members here.
Except for Joe. We got to get him a membership
Yeah.
here. But Kyle is
Yes.
our president.
Yes, sir.
And I am your first vice president. And Solomon here is our, what are you, outside?
He's a member.
He's a member. Okay, he's a member.
Yeah.
But anyways, we want to acknowledge the Native Sons and educate you guys a little bit about them. But we'll get everything put together here in a few. I guess we can talk a little bit about them, about us. But there is a few things I want to talk about. One of them is obviously 4th of July just happened.
Yeah.
So I want to catch you guys up on, catch me up on what happened this 4th of July. What did you guys do?
I slept.
You slept all July?
Well, I was probably up for 3 hours because I'd work. I get up 4:30 the next day. So I was like, I
Did
slept.
the fireworks ever keep you awake or anything?
No, I heard 2 at 7.
Oh, and then you were gone.
I was gone.
Nice. You're like, oh, fireworks started. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny. And what about you, Solomon?
Yeah, I did go to a friend's house for a couple hours, but I work at night as well, so after that, I just went to work.
Yeah, you kind of did a little stop by. And
Yeah, did a
touch
couple
and go.
fireworks, saw a couple fireworks, meet and greet.
You did a couple fireworks?
Yeah, they had some, and I guess they didn't feel like lighting them, so I lit it for them.
Bro, you
Nice.
you did it illegally?
No, it was in Rialto. I don't think.
Rialto. Okay.
Well, they're small. They were small
Little
ones.
firecracker?
Yeah, we did it in the yard. We didn't even do it on the
Okay.
street, so it was
Yeah.
safe.
No, I was just trying to see if I can catch you.
I don't even
catch you
on the
that
air.
$2,500 fine.
I don't know if that city allows it. I'm not from Rialto, so I don't know.
$3,000.
He's
No,
like,
just
I don't
kidding.
care.
Not in Redlands, in
Yeah,
Rialto.
No, there wasn't. There was a lot of traffic, obviously, heading east. But I was actually making my way downtown San Diego for my 4th of July. My sister, she's in the Coast Guard, and she's on a new ship because she's transferring over to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And she's on an icebreaker. And so she was on a little cutter, and now she upgraded on this massive ship. I call it Clifford because it's the only ship that's just big and red. Is that your phone right now?
No, it's not mine.
Sorry, break the silence here. It's my phone. My bad. I'm one of those guys hey, turn your phones off, guys, and then it's mine going off. Anyways, yeah, so she's on this icebreaker now, and she actually left the morning after 4th of July, and she was in San Diego all by herself, and she was like, I don't want to be by myself for 4th of July. I was like, all right, for sure, I'll be down there. And it was kind of, I don't want to say ironic, but it was funny. You know how there's been a lot of like problems with, like ICE and like people getting arrested and all that stuff.
Oh,
right?
ice. I thought you meant like.
I thought you meant like
I thought you meant like ice.
Like icebergs?
Yeah. You said icebreaker, so I was like.
I'm just
yeah.
jumping around here for a second. But anyways, I show up downtown San Diego. They have a parade for like 4th of July, right? And I'm looking for my sister. I'm driving by, and the roads were closed off, and I only see like one group of people like in the parade, and it was like Border Patrol. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, I get it. We're like 10 minutes away from Tijuana. Like we're like so close to the border, you know?
True.
But I kind of just chuckled because I was like, I expected to see something else like for the 4th of July parade, you know? But it was just Border Patrol like
Said
on
you just saw
horses and stuff.
protests.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was kind of funny. I would say I had like an embarrassing moment. Okay. And those of you who are listening, you're just gonna have to like visualize it. I have a pick in my arm, right?
Yeah.
So it's like an IV. I mean, it is an IV, but I have an IV in my arm that goes in between like the inside of my arm between my bicep and tricep, whatever. Because I have to take antibiotics.
Yeah.
Right? I have to take them like every 8 hours. I have an infection in my leg, whatever. We're trying to, fix it, whatever. So my sister was like, hey, I want you to come see me. I don't want to be alone. I was like, Rhiannon, I don't know how you expect me to do that because I have to do an IV at 6 a.m., 2 p.m., 10 p.m., and my IV has to be refrigerated, it has to be chilled, But I love my family, I love my sister, so I made it work, right? I bought a little bag, it was insulated, whatever. I put a bunch of ice packs in it. I packed my medication. Excuse me. I go out there, we have lunch, 2 o'clock hits. I was like, now I got to do an IV. So out in public, I'm putting this IV in my arm, and it starts off with like syringes, right? So I have a little thing
you
in
have to
there.
flush it.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
gotta flush it
uh-huh.
and
Did,
stuff.
did you do it in a dark alley? Yeah.
No. I out in the open, like in front of like this lobster sandwich shop, and people are like walking by, and they're just like watching my sister like do this, And the way this IV works is like with the IV stand, it's kind of like a siphon. It is basically a siphon. Like the higher the IV bag is, the better it drips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
a gravity. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes with gravity. So, or against gravity, I should say. Or with it. Yeah, with gravity. So I have this really long pole, right?
Yeah.
And I get the IV stuck in my arm, whatever, and we start walking downtown or like in the area, and I'm just like holding this pole, and it's like this pole is
Oh my
sticking
God.
up like 4 feet higher
You're
than
like,
me.
hey, you're supposed to be in the parade.
Yeah. Like people are like walking by and like looking at this, and I was like, we should like cover it up, like maybe get like an American flag and put it up there or something. But we just threw a towel on there. But at first we just had it full exposure, right? We're at this crosswalk, all right, and there's like a group of people, and this guy, like I'm standing behind him, and he looks behind him, he looks at me, he looks up, he thinks I didn't see him, you know what I mean? He like nudges his buddy, he's like, bro, look behind us, and then they both looked, and then like they try to like pretend to look past me by like looking up, but then just like everything,
awkward.
Yeah, it was so awkward, and me and Rhiannon were just looking at them. And then the guy turns around. He's like, "Dude, I'm sorry. I just never seen this before." And I was like, "It's all good, brother. Just
It's all good.
it was just a little IV bag,
Yeah. Who doesn't do heroin then?
yeah, seriously. And I wanted to start making jokes, but I didn't want to put like a bad image on myself. I was gonna tell people like, "Oh, it's like I'm doing chemo or something," But I didn't want to talk poorly. So
Yeah.
that's too far, right?
Yeah.
We even went to the beach, and I was like, made this like sand pile, and I was gonna stick the pole in the sand. And by this time we had the towel covering it, but you can still see the IV line, going into my arm. And this girl, she comes up, she's like, "Hey, like I have a lot of stuff in my purse, and it's like very sturdy. You can just put it in my purse, and it will like hold it for you, And I was like, we're leaving. Actually, I'm not gonna stay because I don't want to get the sand like in the
Yeah, that'd be bad.
the
Yeah,
tube and
bag
stuff.
or
So
the purse.
walked away, but it wasn't embarrassing for us. It was kind of like a little laugh,
Yeah,
But so many people
Different experience.
for sure, different experience. And I had
All
to have
good
it on for like
experiences,
2 hours, So eventually we just went to a park, we posted up, and we just hung out, and then all this stuff. But before the show, we were just running ideas, like
Yeah.
how to make money and like all this stuff.
We always
okay.
talk like that, yeah.
We always talk about it. And one of the things that I brought up, see, I'm a very ambitious guy, okay?
Yeah.
And ideas run through my mind all the time. People feed ideas to me. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And I want to try it out. Like, I'm down to roll the dice. I'm down to risk it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you how risky life is. We're
Put
not
it
gonna
on
get out
black.
alive. You know what I'm saying? we're not gonna get out alive, so we might as well just, risk it. All like good risks. Anyways, this IV bag.
Mm-hmm.
I know people who literally give themselves IVs after they get like smashed, after they get drunk and stuff. To,
Yeah.
like go to work and everything.
Yeah.
And it's actually a legitimate job where you can give IVs to people. Okay, whether it's like they're drinking, whether it's right after a marathon, or if
Yeah.
it's at like Coachella or Stagecoach, you do IVs. And I was talking to one of my nurses when I was in the hospital, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I do that on the side." And in Redlands, you do an IV for like $200 to $300 a bag,
Wow.
and it's just 1 hour.
That's crazy.
So imagine if you go to like Stagecoach or a rave or like a
Hey, you
marathon,
should be giving IV.
bro. Like
Get your IV here.
yeah, a little hydration booth or something, and you have like 4 or 5 lined up, and you just have phlebotomists just boop boop boop, just giving out IVs, $200-300 a bag. She told me in Vegas they're $500 a bag.
Oh man.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
I'm like,
hot.
whoa,
Especially for EDC.
Oh,
that-
EDC, yeah, people are always
bro,
dehydrated.
500 in an hour. Now that's a pretty good gig. I'm all excited. I'm telling my mom, like I already have an IV stand and everything. I'm like, I'm already halfway
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
And she was like, "You're gonna get sued." I was like someone's gonna get sick or something, like. And I was like, no. I'll just be the salesman. Like I'll have phlebotomists, things like that. Because I looked it up. You have to get prescribed to get like these IV bags, but they're like 40 cents to $1 for an IV bag. I'm like, those margins on that, dude,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
crazy.
You definitely have to get liability insurance.
Yeah, 100%. Sign some waivers,
Yeah.
Especially the people who've been drinking, like they bleed a little easier, and like it'll be like a whole mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's an idea.
Thinner blood.
Yeah. And I had a talk with a good friend of ours. I don't know if I think you met him. His name is Jerry Brown.
Yeah.
All right. And the reason why I'm bringing
When's
up
the last time we saw him?
recently, June 24th, to be exact. It
Oh,
was
Mark's birthday? Yeah.
Mark's birthday. Yeah. And the reason why I can say his name because I'm talking good about him. I'm not talking anything horrible.
Yeah.
And he said we're just having a little chat, and he was like, "Look around." And a car drove by, right? He's like, "You don't even know what he does for a living." He's like, we get out of high school or we get out of school, and no one gives us the menu on like what jobs are out there. Like we have an
figure it
idea,
out,
like
yeah.
the basic things in our heads, but there's so many different jobs out there.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea, Like this IV bag thing, that's one of them. You know what I mean? I
Right.
didn't know that was even a thing until recently. I was like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
good idea, and then I found out it's pretty legit. And so it's just like getting these different ideas and exploring. Like I'm not too sure what I want in life. I know what I like, but what I want to do as a career.
You know what's crazy? All the niche things people made money off of, like the
Give
Pet
us an
Rock.
example.
The Pet Rock. Have you heard of the Pet Rock?
Only in SpongeBob.
And the so in the 80s and 90s, this guy invented a pet rock. It's literally just a rock with a face on it.
Mm-hmm.
Billionaire. People buy it, and then he sold accessories, plastic cats, like scarves,
Just anything
makeup.
outside. Yeah.
whatever.
For these rocks.
Yeah, for these rocks, and he all branded it under the Pet Rock. So you buy Pet Rock specific makeup, and it's sold at a higher price than regular makeup, and it was just regular makeup.
Oh my gosh.
And this guy made billions. Yeah, Pet Rock. You never heard of it?
I never heard of it.
Yeah, look it up. The guy who made the Pet Rock.
What I hate is, so I actually deactivated most of my social medias. I deactivated my Facebook, Instagram, all that. Like it's just right now, it's time to like lock in and focus. But I still have Snapchat because of my family and stuff,
Yeah.
But there was like, oh, these top 5 like most cringiest videos, and it's like these people get famous over the most cringiest videos, bro. I'm like, and it's like hurting my head. 'Cause I'm like,
Hawk
like, why am I watching this right now? Like, why am I
I
like,
wish he did too.
Yeah.
what?
Remember the Hawk Tua girl?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Hawk Tua. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't she like sell like a crypto and
Yeah,
coin
she
or
like
something?
shorted everyone on this
A meme
huge
coin,
yeah,
and
crypto.
people actually invested in it, and it's just like, why would you?
Why would you do that? Yeah. And then, like the whole time I'm watching these videos on Snapchat. I'm like, why am I watching these videos? Like, it just drives me crazy. But like the fact that there's so many things where you don't really necessarily have to like. First of all, there's like 330 million people in America alone,
It's
right?
a lot of people.
Like you can do one thing, and maybe not everybody likes it, but out of the 330 million, probably 10,000 people would like watch your stuff.
Yeah.
So it's almost like making money back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. Like that was tough to get like to $1 million and all this stuff. But now it's easier in a sense. There's more options. There's just like it's crazy.
I feel like that's subjective too. You know, I feel like if you're really good at psychology back then, you can convince people over the phone to buy your product. Nowadays, you know, you can see it on like Facebook, Instagram. Oh, this product is kind of bad.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, you get talked into it. You get talked like over the phone. Oh yeah, let me buy it. Tell you my credit card information over the phone. Ship it to my house.
Yeah.
You know,
There was more trust back in the day.
there's more trust. Yeah.
I mean, that's all you have back in the day, you know? It's like this guy sounds legit, you know? He gave me his name, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I can look
His
him
name's
up-
Tom.
look
I
him
trust
up,
him.
Look him up on Yellow Pages. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But now it's like some of these kids are making more money than their parents,
It's true.
you know?
And I mean, it's creativity because someone had to do it first, and then you can add your own little spin to it, which then it could lead to something cringy because now everybody was like, "Oh, I want to become a content creator and do the craziest video," because a lot of people did like different challenges or dances before. They do it now. It's like, oh no, that's not gonna be as popular.
Yeah, now
You have
it's
to
just
add
saturated.
something. You have to add
Yeah.
something to it, and then it just gets out of control. But they're like, well, some people likes it from other countries. They have different, you know, society norms, and so they might like it. But doing
Yeah.
it here and people get frowned upon. You can get in trouble real quick if enough people care to get you in trouble. Sometimes it's like we know they're just kids being kids, but
Yeah.
you know, like
Especially the people on Reddit, they'll get anyone in trouble.
oh yeah, they'll
They'll
band
get you
together.
fired.
They'll get you fired. Well, I mean, you got to do
People on
something.
Reddit,
really-
they're just like
you gotta do
These guys
something
are
really
like
bad.
detectives.
And I mean, they have a lot of free time, so it's like,
Yeah. A lot of them were like
or they
can
work
be FBI agents.
they
and
work at
stuff.
home, so
Yeah.
you think, you know, like, oh, how you on Reddit all day? Well, I mean, I just open up a new browser. I work at home, so I have plenty of time to either use my work time or my
what is
activity time to
Reddit for? I don't understand.
It's a forum page pretty much.
Forum.
Forums. So there's links to forums, and then there's sub pages to those forums. So it's everything: how-to videos, cringe videos.
It's like social media, but
Yeah, it's
not necessarily.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know like a lot of people that they'll look up certain things and then they'll go to Reddit to like, because it's like personal reviews and stuff, right? As well.
Well, yeah. Some of it is.
Like you could
A
probably
lot of it's opinionated.
You could probably go on Google and be like, ask a question. You can go to there's other websites for that, or just Google might have an answer,
Yeah.
and then Reddit could be an option because someone else could have already asked and posted it. Now you have comments from even years ago answering questions you might have today,
Yeah.
and it might be relevant or outdated. You might be like, oh, yeah, I may have to adjust because times have changed, but you can find a lot of information, good and bad. And then you can kind of, certain subreddits will have different rules and policies, like what you can and can't post or what you can and cannot talk about.
Interesting.
And so they like,
what are
this is-
some things that you cannot talk about?
It
like,
depends. It's
it
very.
it depends on the subreddit and the mods, because the mods are other people. And so some mods can be very picky and just ban you from the subreddit or like,
Okay, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
There's a Kendrick Lamar subreddit. You can't talk about Drake.
yeah, basically.
really?
Yeah.
And
That's
then
crazy.
the Drake subreddit
Probably-
can't talk about
probably
Kendrick.
can't talk about
You know,
Kendrick.
it's because they got beef.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
those
And-
people in those forums are part of that beef, essentially. And they'll give their own spins on the stories. Oh, this is what really happened behind this song. They'll
Yeah.
break it down. People will break it down, and
They even have it for like sports. So like,
yeah,
let's say, you know, the NBA Finals just happened. So like, it would be like the Knicks and the Pacers. So now you have the fans from the Knicks, they have their own subreddit, New York Knicks, and then you have the Indiana Pacers, they have their own subreddit. They can't, they have a series, so it's the best of 7. Whoever wins moves on to the finals.
Yeah.
Indiana won, so it's not like the fans of Indiana, if they went into the Knicks subreddit and they were like talking mess, talking trash,
Yeah.
they would get
I thought the
banned.
Knicks won.
No, the Pacers, because they played
Oh,
they played OKC. They can get banned from the Knicks subreddit because it's like, hey,
Oh,
you can come over and talk, but not talk trash. You can't diss. You can say, hey, good game. I'm a fan. The Indiana, but you guys had played well. Just respectful, courteous stuff. Because you can get banned from your own subreddit too. You're in Indiana. You're an Indiana fan. Now you're going to other team subreddits and making
you're
fun of them, talking
representing them.
trash.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, hey, we're not. We don't accept him. He's a bad Indiana fan, and then
Yeah.
you end up getting banned from both.
And so the way they track that is there's upvotes and there's downvotes.
Right.
So you post a comment on a subreddit. And it's like you get a lot of upvotes, people agree. You get a lot of downvotes, people disagree. And on your profile, it'll tell you how many upvotes and how many downvotes total you have. So people who have like a lot of downvotes, people don't want those people in the server because they're negative
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, with like a certain karma
Yeah.
point system, and so you might post something that's relatively popular and people will like it because it's funny or entertaining, and if it gets repeatedly subbed, like someone can post something and it's like, oh, they beat me to it, but I'll still post anyways. You get multiple posts of the same thing. Usually by the third or fourth person, they just get downvoted to oblivion because like, hey, this was already posted.
Yeah.
You're late to the party. You should known not to post this.
Mm.
And the first 2 people get like thousands of votes, so their karma's up. So
Right.
like, oh, they're good people, or they're not gonna do anything bad to ruin their karma.
Interesting.
And then I mean, whatever you like, if you like photography, there's a photography sub. Or you like Family Guy, there's a Family Guy sub.
Yeah.
It's just random, anything you could think of. Obviously, there's some subreddits that don't exist.
But you can create them.
You can. I've never created one, so I don't know the process, but I'm pretty sure you can. You might have to get a certain amount of people to join and like it to keep it active.
So like
Yeah.
clubs almost.
Almost, yeah.
Yes, sort of, yeah.
Because I mean, you could technically make one for the Native Sons, but it's a type of social media. So and we have mostly older people. I don't know if they're gonna join. You'd have to make an
You're just
account.
like, I don't know if it's gonna work.
Sign
Yeah, it's
in,
like you
all
got to
this-
make an
it's-
account, then you got to remember the password to that account. How many
Yeah.
old people want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. I
So-
mean, you have the app. It's easy for us young people, tech savvy stuff,
Yeah.
and we can keep up to date, post stuff regularly. And then if it gets popular enough, the same thing with like content creators. You're doing stuff on like Kick or Twitch. You have the moderators that they help you kick people out if they're being rude on the sub channel. They're messaging something inappropriate. You can
Yeah.
kick them out. You can ban them. It's the same thing on Reddit. You can get popular enough. You have to manage it, like almost like a business, and make sure everyone stays in line and follows the rules.
So how come they can't use that for like on like Twitter and like Instagram and stuff?
I think they're just
Because
different
of freedom of
systems.
speech or something or what?
Well, it's the format really. Like Instagram is mostly photo based,
Mm-hmm. Images.
Well, now they have Threads, which is kind of like Twitter, but it's and then Twitter is just like posts and you comment on those posts. These are like, these are forums, and then sub forums, and then comments, and it's like layered.
Interesting. So like
Yeah.
forums would be like the topic,
Yeah, the
right?
topic,
and then sub forums would be like people talking about that, and then comments are obviously
yeah,
people responding
and
to
yeah,
the,
and it's very descriptive, or it could be very brief. It could be how-to videos. It could be like
They're just
you
a
know,
personal opinion.
Yeah, it could be personal opinion.
So
Like it could be fan fiction.
Yeah, and like I brought up basketball earlier, so we're Celtic fans, and I follow the subreddit. It's just anything related to Boston Celtics. So you got
Yeah.
the players, injuries or games we won and lost, or trades even. Hey, we just traded this player. Every topic is its own little post,
conversation, yeah.
and then you can comment and like, share each individual one, and then just
The way that's
Different
layered
ones.
is like you have the top comment, and then it does like a tab, and then people comment off that guy, and people comment off those people. So it looks like a tree almost,
Yeah.
like an upside down tree.
Huh. Yeah, I never actually looked at Reddit.
Or like a
I clicked
timeline.
on it a few times, but I never really paid attention to detail on how it works and whatnot. It looked a little confusing, but honestly, you guys are making it sound pretty
It's cool, but also it could get scary. There's people
Toxic. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of toxic people on there. There's a lot of people on there who are like former FBI analysts and CIA people who are on there because it's completely anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
You create a username, and that's what you're displayed as. It
Don't
doesn't
put
give
your name.
any of your information. Yeah,
Don't put your own picture.
yeah. Don't put your
Some
own
people
picture.
can,
Yeah,
but
That's
yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
Well, you guys, we are a little bit past the bottom half of the hour, so we're gonna take a quick 2-minute break. Just kidding, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and when we'll come back, we'll continue talking about different ways to make some money, and I have a couple questions for you, son.
All right.
So you guys listen to Whatever Works on KCAA. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
How sweet it is to be a corporate criminal these days. I don't mean common price gougers, polluters, and such, but full-fledged executive suite mobsters. They run huge corporate syndicates, treating fraud and even murder as essential business tools. For example, Boeing Incorporated. In 2018, a Boeing 737 MAX passenger jet suddenly nosedived into the Java Sea, killing all 189 people on board. A freak accident, declared top bosses of the multi-billion-dollar giant, disavowing any responsibility. Indeed, even though he knew that the MAX had a fatally flawed maneuvering system, the CEO rushed out to assure flyers that his jet was, quote, as safe as any airplane that has ever flown the skies. But oops, 5 months later, another MAX nosedived in Ethiopia, killing 157 more people. Whistleblowers and federal investigators later revealed that the bosses had long been shortchanging safety to jack up profits and their own pay. Last summer, in a rare legal victory over business-as-usual coddling of corporate abuses, Boeing had to admit that it knowingly defrauded safety regulators and was, in fact, guilty of criminal violations. So, justice. Not quite. Just a few weeks later, Trump happened, and he immediately turned the Justice Department into a full-service corporate whorehouse. So, after Boeing donated a cool $1 million in tribute to the new president, Trump's Attorney General obligingly decreed that the confessed corporate criminal could simply withdraw its guilty plea, pay a minimal fine for killing 346 people, and, quote, move on. This is Jim Hightower saying, politicians bark at us commoners, do the crime and you'll do the time. Unless, of course, you can buy a corporate get-out-of-jail-free card from a corrupt president. The Hightower Radio Lowdown is made possible by you subscribers to Jim Hightower's Lowdown on Substack. Find us at jimhightower.substack.com.
Tune in to The Ferran Dozier Show. Music marks place and time, the soundtrack to life. Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on KCAA Radio. Playing the hottest hits and the coolest conversations. Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on The Ferran Dozier Show. With an array of music, talk, sports, community outreach, and veteran resources. With hits from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and today's hits. The Ferran Dozier Show on KCAA Radio. On all available streaming platforms. And 106.5 FM and 1050 AM. The Ferran Dozier Show on KCAA Radio.
Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents? All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. In business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family owned. and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and in Fontana. Call them at 1-800-61-MAGIC. That's 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers. 1-800-61-MAGIC. All Magic Paint and Auto Body says, drive carefully.
If you haven't been listening to TV Confidential, this is who you're missing.
Eric Braden, Danson Williams, Burt Ward,
Lindsay Wagner, Loretta Swett, Michelle Nichols, Shirley Jones, Louise Sorrell,
Sid Eisner. A lovely, enchanting interview.
All the
Conversation, it wasn't an interview.
Well, thank you. That's what I try to do. I try to make this a conversation.
You made it.
That's TV Confidential.
Mondays, 2 p.m. right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in Durga, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy Sunday. You're listening to Whatever Works on KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. I'm your host, Sam Works.
I'm Kyle Kerrigan.
And I'm Solomon Crank.
I like it. I like it. You know what's funny? So obviously this is our anthem. This is our song, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm on Pandora, I use Pandora, and I'll be on shuffle, whatever, and then the song comes up, okay? Yeah. Even if I don't want to listen to that song, I still play it.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's a must, even if I don't want to hear it, I'm like, it's playing.
When I was at the casino the first time they played it, they don't play it anymore.
No, a lot of songs, they're mainstream in the moment. If they're still not mainstream, they kind of just...
I did hear it once. I did hear it once when I came back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of music and stuff, I wish that Bruno Mars was not famous. Because, I like his songs and stuff, but it's all his stuff is overplayed and, mainstream. I'm like, that sucks. I wish I could hear it without being, thinking about that. But
I feel like The Weeknd is similar.
The Weeknd?
A lot of his songs were, overplayed. Now it's you hear it, you're like, oh, I don't want to.
And
it's another Weeknd song. It's another one.
And even though they're, good songs, just knowing that the fact that it's, I don't know. I'm just, one of those guys. But anyways, so before we went on break, we were talking about a little bit. We touched up on it, different ways to make money, and then there's things that we haven't, whatever. Sorry, I'm just as if I'm talking to you guys. So it's I don't really want to catch them up, whatever. But anyways, when we're in the green room, Kyle and I were talking, and we're talking about a topic, and I kind of want to get your input on this, and it's about some people say it's let's say just a yacht, for example, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather own a yacht and deal with all the problems and, even rent it out, make money, whatever, do all that stuff, or would you rather just rent it out when you need it? Let's say, or a private jet. If you just had the money.
Yeah, a private jet or a yacht?
Well,
yeah,
I'm saying
just saying in general, would you rather own it or rent it?
Man, that's hard.
Because I'll give you some inputs on both sides.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So people say, oh, why own a yacht when you can just rent it? Right? Because you're not going to be on a yacht all the time. Maybe for special occasions. You know what I mean?
A lot of upkeep.
Yeah, a lot of maintenance.
Dock
upkeep,
fees.
Dock fees, all that stuff. So it's just better to rent it. Rent it for the day. Take it out, have your family, blah, blah. It's better to rent, right? On the flip side, if you own a yacht and you know how to manage it well and everything works out, you can rent it out. All right? I'm not going to go into detail, but me and Kyle, we went into detail in the green room. people in San Diego are renting their yachts out, making $72,000 a month, renting it out. You know,
That's pretty good.
and the bonus of it is like, you know, 4th of July is a good example. You can be like, you know what, we're not gonna rent it out. We're gonna hop on it. You can use the yacht whenever you want. It's yours. You know, I'm gonna have the family on it. It's 4th of July. Everyone on the yacht. Whatever.
Oh, 72,000 is after the upkeep.
Yeah.
So that's with all the fees covered.
The
you know,
docking. The
docking.
financing. Yeah,
You know, if you're paying monthly for it.
yeah, ridiculous.
What would be
Yeah.
the downside of owning it?
The maintenance, the damages, the
damages.
insurance, just the money cost.
That much money? I feel like if it's gonna be like pay for itself type thing, so
Yeah.
I would probably like get someone else to manage it.
Yeah.
You know?
Just do a management company.
I mean, some people like, some people just have a yacht and they just use it only for personal use. They don't
Yeah.
rent it out. You know,
Yeah,
they probably don't want other people on the yacht damaging the yacht, like whatever.
To them,
But,
that's like their baby. So
But like, you can use it for,
themselves.
you can use the same idea for anything. You know, like, I don't know.
We're
Yeah.
talking about jets, private jets.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you rent it out. That's kind of weird.
People,
Really?
Well, I mean, because in a yacht, you know, you're stationary. You're not gonna really. You could pick it out, but like, it's mostly just a room in an area that is more private. You know, and you're by the water. You know, it's got that lifestyle where you're
Okay.
in the summertime.
Okay, how about something a little more relatable? How about a house? Right?
Yeah, like Airbnb.
Because I'll tell you the benefits of renting. If you are someone who travels a lot, someone who moves around, someone who, like, let's say you're like an elder person, right? And you can't do maintenance. You're keeping up with the yard and all that stuff. Another thing is like the property taxes, the depreciation, the work, and just being a homeowner. There's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
Some people say, hey, sometimes renting is better.
Yeah.
You know, but also being a homeowner, you're building equity, you're building generational wealth. You bought land, you got a place to like stay and live. You know, so make it your own. It's your home. You know.
Yeah, with homes, I think if I could afford it, yeah, I'd own it. I don't think I would want to rent a home. Yeah, 'cause my mom has a house and it's nice. It's eventually, if she wanted to move, she could sell it. You know, and it's in a nice neighborhood and there's park nearby. It's great. And she had like a really low like
Interest rate.
interest rate because it was like around COVID.
So it's like 2%.
Yeah, even she's got a Tesla now. and
She's
she-
probably
and it's
not
same
going to
thing.
move out. Bro. She's probably not going to sell it.
Maybe not. If she saves up enough money, she probably get a house down here so she can travel between the two and visit us out here. 'Cause she lives up north in Oakley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, having like a real estate background and stuff. Every time when I hear people say like, "Oh, I got, a really low interest rate at like 2% or whatever." Like, to me, unless you bought this house to keep forever, put it in a trust and just have it down to family generation, having that 2% is honestly not the best strategy. You know, one of the reasons why, I'm sure you guys know, is that if you sell your house now and you buy another home, now you're at whatever interest rate we're at, 6%, 7%, you don't carry that interest rate. And on top of that, if you don't sell your home, you have all this equity built up, but now you can't leverage your money on it.
Yeah.
You probably have like $300,000 worth of equity, but then you don't want to refinance, you don't want to sell, you don't want to do this. Now it's just like, well, I just made payments on this house, but I can't use it to all like its full capacity, full benefits.
A lot of people don't know how to sell their homes either, so a lot of people end up upside down.
Yeah.
Even though they have what they had was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's very interesting because
and like it's always those people like, well, I don't need an agent, I can do everything myself. It's always those people.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's one of the biggest investments in your life.
Yeah.
To purchase a home, and you're dealing with the most money transaction you probably will ever go through, and you don't want a professional handling your paperwork. And then, on top of that, you go. Let's say you're selling your house, or let's say you're buying a house, right?
Yeah.
You don't need an agent. You don't want one. You're like, I got this. Well, the sellers, they have an agent, and their job is to give them the best deal.
Yeah.
So they're gonna hit you with a bunch of like terminologies and things and checklists. You're gonna be like, what the heck? You're gonna be so overwhelmed. They're like, well, did you do this? Did you do this? How about, well, technically, you're asking for this, but really, they're gonna try to get as much money as they can for like their client.
Mm-hmm.
And they're professionals. They do it all the time, And imagine if you go through a lawsuit. Ugh, who's gonna represent you? You're on your own, buddy. But at the same time, so you go to the dentist. You can't clean your own teeth. You know what I mean? Like, you go to court, you have your lawyer. You sell your house, you have an agent. I don't even do real estate anymore. I just saw the real value of having someone represent you, because at the end of the day, it's one of your biggest assets. And if you screw it up, you're gonna hate yourself.
It's the same thing with a car. If you don't have the tools or the know-how to fix your own car, just take it to a professional. They might upcharge you and all those extra fees, but you're not gonna fix it.
Yeah.
And that's something you need every day.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna change your own transmission?
No.
You're gonna clean your own transmission?
Yeah. Like, I got work the next day. Let me change my transmission out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Speaking of ways to make money, not every business can handle their own data.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that segue.
Let's talk about that. You go ahead. You started. You brought it up.
Okay. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of material businesses need to run, right? What's making money? How can they market themselves? How can they represent themselves to the people?
What's not making money?
What's not making money? That's where a data analyst comes in.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm telling him about my little venture. Well, I guess our venture now.
Yeah,
I didn't doing it too.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't understand, like, the occupation. Like, I feel like it would just be like part-time or like temporary. Like, they only need you once and things like that. But the truth is that a business is always evolving.
Yep.
It's always changing. And you need someone to look at your data to figure out how efficient your business is.
Yeah.
How you can grow the business. What are the things that are killing your business? Having an outside recommendation or a perspective of your business, and it's needed. And like, let's say, there's a business and it's like, hey, we're doing this new campaign.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Here's our data. Is it working? Is it not?
Yeah.
And then you keep track of it, and then it no longer becomes a campaign. It just becomes part of the business, and you analyze it month over month. It's kind of like your finances, like if you have a finance guy or woman or person looking at all your finances, you're not just going to use them once.
Right.
It's an ongoing thing, and being a data analyst is very important to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Even in the front of the lines.
It's funny that person says that, because what they do on a daily basis has a lot to do with data.
Yeah.
Especially if you're marketing for politicians. Politicians have a lot of data.
Oh, yeah.
They need to know who's voting for them, the race, gender,
who's participating.
So that way they can work on the social issues.
Right.
And or try to get those people who are negative performing.
Yeah.
How do you relate to them?
Like, okay, we have these many people in our party, but only X amount is participating. How can we get more people who are in our party, or even people in a different party, to convert to our side and participate?
That's one of the reasons why I'm doing data analysts, is I think we can benefit it for the native sons.
100%.
There's a lot of data that 100%. We have that we don't use, and it's frustrating.
Yes.
There's a lot.
And the other thing is, it's funny when a company comes up and they're like, especially like a new company, new business.
Yeah.
They hire you as a data analyst, and they're like, hey, like, find out what's working, what's not working.
Mm-hmm.
You're a problem solver, first of all. That's your job, to problem solve. But you're like, okay, so where's your guys' data? They don't send you anything. Now your job is to
Go fetch it.
basically find the data, create the data for them. And that can take a long, long time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have any paperwork to show. Like, where's your, there was a restaurant that just opened recently, and they owned another one. And this lady, she's like, "Oh yeah, I can do your data for you. Like, just send me over, the spreadsheet, blah blah." They didn't have one, so it's like, how are you keeping track?
Paper.
Here's the thing, guys. If you want to be a business owner or anything that doesn't anything external, right?
Yeah.
If you can't manage your own money, like if you don't know where your money is going, which is a lot of us. At one point, it was me too. I'm like, I would get like 10 grand from like selling a house. I'm just not randomly just like, I get 10 grand, but from like selling a home, I get all this money, and it's like, now all my money's gone. Like, where did I spend all my money? Like, if you are that type of person, if you can't manage yourself, then you can't manage a business.
Right.
If you don't know where your money is going, then you can't. How can you figure out how can you scale a company to a greater value than your own account if you can't even manage your own?
Yeah. Because we're businesses too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We are a structure. We are a system.
Yeah.
And if a system fails, you should probably know why.
Exactly. You should know how to market yourself to get what you want.
Bingo. Man, I see. This is when I start to get excited, and we only have 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
But no, because if you treat yourself like a business, and you want the business to grow, the things around you are gonna grow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, here's a metaphor. It's like, oh, I want to catch butterflies, right? What's the easiest? Like, what's the solution to catching butterflies?
Net.
Yeah, and you go chase them. You can go run around and find them, or you can build a garden. Butterflies will come to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
We are a garden. You build yourself.
Yeah.
Opportunities will come to you.
Let's say in the Bible, your body's a temple.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the ones I like, and actually Mark told me recently too. He was like, "There's a verse that says God will help the ones that help themselves."
Yeah.
So if you're putting in that work, like if you have something in mind and you want to achieve it, if you're putting in work, God will sprinkle a little bit of little gifts. He'll sprinkle some blessings on you.
Yeah.
I think about that, and the other one I think about is, prayers. They get answered through like opportunities, right? And some of the things, it's like, oh, I want to be rich, right? I want money,
Yeah.
Lord, I want money. And then he looks down at you. He's like, have you been giving your tithes?
Yeah.
Have you been getting the church money? Like, what you're asking for is very selfish.
Yeah.
And you're not even doing what I'm asking you to do.
Right.
Give money to the church and I'll give you money. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, people, like, that's what I learned last week in church. I was like, it's pretty powerful, because it's almost with anything that you ask, in that category, be like, oh, I want this. And then God goes, well, are you doing this?
Right.
Are you doing what I'm asking you to do so I can help you do what you want to do?
Mm-hmm. But sometimes God, sometimes what you want to do is not what God wants you,
100%.
And it's always hard. Because we're fighting the human side of ourselves. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes God puts people in your life who are temporary, and you want them there forever. And it's just...
That's not how it works, man.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You gotta go with the river.
Go with the river. There is a good song about that, going with the river.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Idea?
No, I think it's things will change.
Okay.
Or things will come or something. Like, it starts off, he was born by a river in a little tent, and he was like, and just like the river, things will change. You'll never see the same water flow down the river. So just over time. And speaking of, like, we're kind of getting a little biblical here, but there's a story with King Solomon, right? And he goes up to one of his guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm throwing a party next week, all right? He's like, I want a ring. I want a custom ring. But with that ring, I want it to where when I look down and look at it, he's like, if I'm happy and I see this ring, I now get sad. And when I'm sad and I look at this ring, then I smile. Like, and I want that ring before the party. Right?
Yeah.
Guy was like, I'll get it done. You know? And so this guy's screaming. He's like, what kind of, like, what do I give him to, like, for that to happen, you know? And it's like, whoa, you know? The day of the party already started. He figured it out. He was like, King Solomon, I have your ring. He's like, amazing. Give it to me. Puts it on. And he's smiling, right? The party, having a good time. Puts the ring on. He looks at it. Straight face. Right?
Oh, okay.
What's on that ring? The ring is a Bible verse, a little short one. And it says, this too shall pass.
That's a good one.
Yep. So when you're going through a rough time, he looks down at that ring and says, this too shall pass. And he feels better. When he's having a great time with family and friends, looks down at that ring, this too shall pass. He gets sad. That was pretty powerful, dude. I was like, so even when I go through like my stuff, like when I'm in the hospital or if I'm just, you know, going through the courses and it's just frustrating or just a moment of time where I'm stressed,
this too shall pass.
You know?
Yeah.
And even when I'm happy, you know? So just keep that in mind.
It keeps you grounded.
Yeah. Keeps you grounded, keeps you humble. But just keep in mind, guys, that like there's endless opportunities out there, but you definitely want to grow yourself before you grow other things, you know?
Yeah.
And you'll get taken care of. So
sounds good. Yeah.
I think we're gonna close up. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we close out?
No.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Solomon, you are more than welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He actually didn't want to come on the show. Not really. I was like, bro,
it's always a good time.
Yeah, there's already a mic set up. There's already a chair. You know, it's not an interrogation.
It was calling to me. So.
Yeah, it was.
We're just gonna get you a chair that says Solomon on it.
I like that.
This chair is reserved.
Yeah, reserved. There you go. Awesome. All right, we're gonna close up here. Keep in mind, we got a show next week. We'll have another guest next week. Joe will be here. We'll be here. Show starts at 6. I'm the one that forgot. So show starts at 6, guys. Happy Sunday. Take care. See you next week.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in Durga, walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay.